Today on Sugar Spun Run, I'll be showing you how to make eggless chocolate chip cookies. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers, Sam here, and today I am really excited to be sharing another carefully researched, well-tested recipe. These chocolate chip cookies come highly requested. So many of you have asked me how to make a great cookie recipe without eggs, and today I'm going to show you how it's done. Now to get started, you are going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and you are going to need, let me find it, 2 sticks or 1 cup of unsalted butter. You want this to be slightly softened to room temperature. We'll add these to a large bowl. We're going to add a ½ cup of granulated sugar and 1 1/4 cups of firmly packed brown sugar. Now you can use all light brown or all dark brown sugar, either is fine, but I like to use a blend of the two. I like to use both because I feel like that's just the right amount of dark brown sugar. It makes the cookies just the right color, but it doesn't make them too rich. Now you're going to need an electric mixer or a stand mixer for today's recipe. I'm using my hand mixer. And we're going to cream the butter and sugar together until it's well combined. And as usual, I'm using my super aggressive mixer and a bowl that's too small, so of course we've got butter going everywhere. While I was doing my research on eggless cookies, I found that many recipes use cream cheese in place of the eggs. While this can often work from a structural/chemistry standpoint, it adds a very distinct taste to the cookies, and I wanted to give you a recipe that tasted like regular chocolate chip cookies that used eggs. What I found after lots of testing is that heavy cream worked really well. It has a nice neutral flavor, but it is also going to give our cookies our cookie dough, just the right texture and consistency. This is 6 tablespoons of heavy cream. Along with that, we'll be adding 1 1/2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. We'll stir everything together until it's combined. Now get yourself a separate medium-sized bowl, and you're going to want to measure out 2 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. This will just help keep the cookies chewy, but also keep them from spreading too much. We'll also add 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a ½ teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of salt. Mix these together until they're completely combined. And then gradually stir this into your butter mixture. I'll usually do this in 3 or 4 parts. You don't want to add all of your flour at one time, or it's just going to be very difficult for that butter mixture to properly absorb the flour. You're going to end up with a dough that's just too stiff and crumbly. I'm starting this by hand just because my mixer is going to go crazy and send flour everywhere if I use it, but it's going to get a little bit too stiff for me to continue by hand in a minute, so we'll switch over to the mixer. Now this isn't like a cake batter where it's very easy to overmix it, or if you do it, your cookies are going to be really dense. But if you overwork this dough, you're going to really soften that butter, which is going to make the cookies more prone to spreading. Since we're not chilling this dough, we want to take it as easy on the butter, go as easy on the butter as we can. That way it stays as cold as possible, and the cookies are less likely to spread. So we'll grab our mixer again, but you don't want to overdo it. One day, hopefully, I will use a bowl that's the right size. All right, because I don't want to get our butter too warm, I'm going to switch back to my spatula, and I'm just going to use this to find any small pockets of flour or crumbly bits on the bottom of the bowl and make sure everything's nice and cohesive. Now, of course, you need your chocolate chips, so we're going to add 1 cup of semi-sweet chips into the dough. I also like to have a separate ½ cup or so of chocolate chips, and I'll show you what we do with those as soon as the cookies come out of the oven. Now grab yourself a baking sheet and line it with parchment paper, and we're going to scoop our cookie dough by about 2 tablespoon sized scoops. And you can drop that on your baking sheet. Now make sure to space your cookies at least 2 inches apart. Now if you want your cookies to look a little bit more uniform, rather than just dropping the cookie dough, what you can do is you can just lightly roll it into a smooth ball between your palms. And I'll let you see for yourself in just a minute how different the cookies look when you just take this couple extra seconds to do this. Now take these over to your preheated oven where they'll need to bake for about 10 to 12 minutes. Now, if you reserved some chocolate chips earlier, then within a minute or 2 of your cookies coming out of the oven, you'll want to just gently nestle a few on top of each cookie. See how pretty that makes them look? Oh, and let me show you the difference between the cookies that we just dropped on the baking sheet versus the cookies that we rolled between our palms and then dropped on the sheet. See, these are just a little bit prettier. If baked correctly, the edges of your cookies should be a very light golden brown color, but the center should still seem a little bit underbaked. Because of this, we are going to let the cookies cool completely on the baking sheet before we remove them and enjoy them. If you try to remove them while they're still warm, they're gonna be fragile and they might break on you. This technique ensures that the cookies finish baking on the cookie sheet rather than in the oven, which is going to make them nice and soft and chewy. If you overbake them in the oven, they're going to be crisp and not as good. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe for easy eggless chocolate chip cookies, and if you try it out, I really want to hear what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. These are good.